June 5th, 2023. We'll call our meeting to order. It's 7:10 p.m. And you have your agenda in front of you. Are there any additions which any councilors wish to make? Okay. Then I've got a motion moved by Councilor Bellefontaine, seconded by Councilor Browning, that council adopt the agenda of the regular meeting RM11-2023 as presented. All those in favor? 5 in favor, none against. Motion's carried. Any declarations of interest in any of the items this evening? None noted. Delegations, we have none this evening. Item 7, adoption of minutes, and we have a few sets of meetings to look at. We've got 7A, and I've got a motion moved by Councilor Bellefontaine, seconded by Councilor Browning, that council approve the minutes of regular meeting RM09-2023 of May 11, 2023. Everybody have a chance to take a look at them. Any issues? Yes, Councilor Browning?
SAO report, Mitch Cass reported that a new bylaw officer has been hired. Do we swear him in yet? Supposed to be sworn in tonight?
I believe it's on the agenda under bylaws. And also, we'll do two readings tonight, and then we'll have them with a third reading of the bylaw next regular meeting.
But you're okay with the minutes themselves, though?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's still triggered the question. So all those in favor of adopting the minutes? Show of hands, all those in favor, 5 in favor, none against. Motion's carried. On the second set of minutes, a motion moved by Councilor Browning, seconded by Councilor Bellefontaine, that council approve the minutes of Committee of the Whole meeting, COW 05-2023 of May the 8th, 2023. Any discussion? All those in favor? 5 in favor, none against. It's carried. And the third set, I've got a motion moved by Councilor Browning, seconded by Councilor Bellefontaine, that council approve the minutes of regular meeting RM10-2023 of May 15, 2023. Any discussion? Yes?
I'm just looking at
Councilor first.
councilor absences. The only one that you approved was from myself, and it shows that so Norma Hardison Gillis was also absent. Is there a purpose?
Just, I think we hadn't received any notification.
Oh, okay. So it should note it there without notice in the minutes.
Well, the minutes just record the motion as it was. Which is recorded as not been absent, but the motion is, that's how the motion was written.
Okay. And just that question made me realize we've skipped an item which we're going to go back to, which is councilor absences, number 5. So,
Okay.
but let's finish this one while we're at it. So do we approve the minutes of RM10-2023? All those in favor? Okay, 5 in favor, 1 against. Motion's carried. And yes, going back to item number 5, councilor absences. I didn't actually have a motion, that's why I didn't go off on that one.
Apologies.
Oh, that's okay. Now, question is, well, we all know that Councilor Hassan is in Ethiopia, Sudan, trying to collect his family over there, so that's the notification received. Hassan. Now, Did Councillor Hardesty from Stephanie?
Stephanie did notify us.
Yeah.
Did notify, okay, so, Councillor Hardesty. How about, our, Hardesty Gillis? Any notification?
I haven't heard from her.
Okay,
Did you reach out? Remember we were talking at our last meeting, you were gonna reach out to her and see if there is an issue or,
I believe Stephanie said she was gonna reach out.
you know what, I think Stephanie's not, definitely.
no, because I didn't get a hold of her.
Okay. Well, is there a bylaw?
Yeah.
How many this meeting?
Yeah, it kicks in,
After 3 non-notice.
three consecutive non-notice, basically, effectively.
Has she contacted the office, Kevin? Not that you know?
You should write her a letter.
We'll refer, I guess, to which act is it? Is it our own, council
Procedure.
code and procedures that kicks in? Okay. Or is it something else?
I believe it's our own council procedures, and maybe in the assessment of the CTV Act, I'm not sure, but if you'd like to leave it with me, I can check on how many,
See how, there's a report.
meeting that's,
Yeah, it's 3.
this might be the third, but I'd have to confirm that.
We'll get a report back on that, so,
There's no she never attended any of the meetings in May, so
yeah, pretty well known.
it's serious, but it's.
So I need a motion to approve the absence of these 2 councillors. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Okay, mover, Councillor Browning, okay, Deputy Mayor. And the councillors Hassan and Hardesty be excused from regular meeting. Just get the number here. RM 11-2023. So all those in favor? 5 in favor and none against. Motion's carried. Sorry for missing that. On to reports, 8, mayor report. I don't really have a report. I know that we have all of the evacuees in our community now. I think that they may be here for a little while yet. And I know that we're working to try to do as much as we can to accommodate all of the evacuees. And to make sure that their stay in our community is as stress-free as possible. And so every day, I think there's new things being learned, and we're getting a little better at addressing some of these needs. I encourage everybody to be, to talk to some of the people from Sombre and make them feel as comfortable and welcome as possible. I did go the evening of the arrival of many of them. I was there at the community hall to say welcome to Fort Simpson to many of them, although you could see they were very worried and stressed. But yeah, I think we should continue to do as much as we can for them and support them and hope for the best. Okay, Deputy Mayor Tetzel.
I've personally harvested some country food for the elders that are staying, the residents. I think they prefer to have country food rather than standard.
Right, and this is part of the learning how, I know initially we hadn't really thought about these things, but feedback and trial and error, we're starting to learn. So we're getting better, that's all I can say.
That being said, they do still have a supply of food,
Yeah, that'd be much appreciated, I think. And we'll try to connect, our meal program to the right diets and things that people are wanting. I know we have a certain amount of elders in different locations, maybe SAO will go into a little bit of that, just how things have been. But I'm just happy that the community's been welcoming, that we've done as much as we can thus far and, committed to continuing to help them. SAO report.
Not too much emotion, I'll just touch on the evacuees. It's been a hectic week. We had some staffing struggles trying to get everything taken care of, but things are starting to get smoother now. We've hired some extra help to help with meals. We've been doing our best to assist as best as we can. Unfortunately, there's only so many costs or there's only certain costs that government will reimburse us for. And that would be essential things such as food. It's our job to supply meals and emergency accommodation. And so any costs related to running the emergency accommodation at the evacuation center itself, which is the recreation center, and any costs for providing those meals, they're reimbursed by government. And other costs such as hotel rooms, gas costs, porta potties at homes, where community members have taken in extra evacuees. Those kinds of costs are not reimbursed by government. Nonetheless, I did commit to getting a porta potty out to one home that had a number of residents staying there. It's been, I think, after tonight will be 2 days of porta potty usage that the village will have paid for. Well, we may continue. We're working with the Red Cross and different organizations to see what kind of funding is available to help with those things. There are 2 hotel rooms that, as of today, the village is paying for that will be reimbursed by government, and that's because the folks in those 2 hotel rooms were deemed not culpable by health. And so, because they're deemed not culpable, the government will pay for those hotel costs to be reimbursed. But generally speaking,
Uncomfortable.
unculpable, yeah, unculpable. So,
Yeah.
i.e. not suitable for sleeping on a cot in any arena for whatever medical reasons. So that's as of today. We've got 2 of those hotel rooms that we've got confirmation will be reimbursed.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we haven't put, apart from the porta potty, we haven't put any money into this that we will actually get reimbursed. I'm wondering what I'd like to try and get a sense of how council feels about paying for some of these kinds of things like porta potties, while we're trying to get funding for, we may not be able to. And so I guess my question to council is, how do you feel about bearing some of those costs that may or may not be reimbursed in the end?
I'm all for it.
Why don't we set a dollar limit so Kevin's got something to work with and he can, $10,000? Like this will be run up to 10,000. If in the end we don't get $10,000 back, at least we helped a small community that supports us, and that's
Great.
we'll see if we can't get the extra money.
So right now, your extra costs that you're thinking of, instead of just saying $10,000, what are your costs you're thinking of, porta potties? Like that's a really good thing for that place, because they do have a lot of visitors too.
Porta potties, some homes get some homes get regular sewage pump out as it is. And there's been questions around paying for some extra pump outs. There's been questions about gas for cook stoves. There's a fire ban right now, so people can't even have a fire at campground. People driving people back and forth to their meals and having to cover gas. So there's a lot of little things that keep coming up.
Little one-offs, but they would ease the ability of people to help a little few dollars for gas here, a little bit of something here. Just things that they don't hardly seem worth, arguing about, but government just doesn't pay for it, so.
Yeah, because I know at the residence, with the elders, like one of the ladies there, her and another girl are the ones kind of contact for everybody, right? So people are bringing stuff there and they're sorting it and doing that kind of thing. I don't mind doing that, I don't think we should. Gas money, because you went, fill up for gas tank, whatever.
Has anybody met with the chief from Trout?
He's still in trouble.
He's still there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, one of the things that I think escaped our planning is that the people coming from Trout, their traditional beliefs and practices, let's say, we didn't entirely take that into account, and neither did MAC, for that matter, when it comes to staying in our community hall arena. Right? There were issues about usage of the hall and how that conflicted with their beliefs of staying in a place overnight, maybe where we've held funerals in there and things like that. These seem to be, now that's their traditional beliefs, right? So we can't really force people to stay there, and yet here we are not really having a place available in a sense because people will not stay there. And it's not because if there was another place to put them, they would go. This was a surprise to us, and now we're adapting to that too, and trying to make other places available with cots and,
Yeah, because I'm just thinking that it seems like, the village has taken this on, and I know the band has tents, and, if you have cots, like, if you can meet with whoever the coordinator from the community is and say, okay, that's it. Because we've got flats, we've got the people now, so we can get the grass cut there, and set, just like when we have the
Like a
gatherings.
community for them.
Yeah.
Because right now, I think their little community is kind of around outside the residence, right?
Yeah,
That's
so
where
I think, I think they feel a lot more comfortable, and I'm going to work tomorrow as an assistant, so I can bring that up and maybe we can do something, because I've been thinking about that, because they'll probably be more comfortable if they're together and spread out all over the place. And then the porta potties, then that way it's,
Because it looks like they'll be for a long haul too,
yeah.
right?
So those, like, they can cook for themselves and be at it set properly.
Yeah, and I mean, it really pays, I guess, to be communicating with the people themselves and making sure that what we're doing is actually filling the need. When you talk about these porta potties and maybe families staying in an area, should we bring two because there's a man and a woman's porta potty, right? If you're traditional, maybe you need two separate units, right? It's not, I don't know. I'm just putting that out as, but we have to be kind of cognizant of the fact that we can't assume that they're going to be thinking exactly like us, right?
Oh, I think that's what.
Which is my next question. Who is a contact person? Like, who is
For us,
well, for any, like, okay, so, because lots of people are, like, even, I know some of the evacuees themselves are like, well, who do we see for this? Who do we see for that? Like, who's the contact person for this whole operation, Dave?
that's being worked on.
As I understand, the evacuee, the person the evacuees should go to is Mavis.
Yeah.
And
For
then-
them, but do they know where to go? Does Mavis know where to go to now? Okay, because she didn't kind of on the
Well,
weekend.
we
so-
I met her on Friday.
Yeah.
Friday, me and Mavis sat down.
Okay, that's
We
good.
hammered a
Okay.
lot of things out.
So she'll know, like, they're going, because that's what she said on Sunday, was that they're going to her and Violet, and her and Violet are trying to sort out stuff, but I just wanted to make sure that Mavis knows where to go for things, right?
And sorry.
Sorry, Your Worship.
I just think that up till now, Kevin's been doing most of this interacting, but I think it would be better for the village if we hired a coordinator, liaison person, who will work with Mavis on all the day-to-day stuff, which is gonna be coming up constantly. And that way, maybe they'll be their outreach person. If there's needs, they either come to the village, they go to MACA, they go to the United Way, they do something. They fix it, they go ask for donations or something in the community, but they help. Because if you put all that on Kevin right now, yeah, it was an emergency, so he steps in as the SAO, but I think we need to farm some of that responsibility. And the government pays for that person, whoever, but I suggest that we do that right away, because if the stay is extended, this is just gonna be a little bit too much.
Yeah.
So I had a conversation with someone about that very thing this evening. We're hoping to finalize something tomorrow morning. And then we'll have one person that can oversee meals, coordinate with the evacuees, coordinate with other possibilities for funding such as United Way and Red Cross. And one person that every movement.
And I know, well, you know, we're not having to track every person's movements or whatever. It would be nice to know how many people are still in Fort Simpson. Have our people,
Don't you need to know that for funding purposes?
well, it's good for planning purposes for us, I think. I mean, they registered, and I got asked that question today by one of the evacuees, is, well, why did I register? Because no one's ever gotten a hold of me after that initial assessment to see if I'm still in Simpson or if I need
Yeah, right.
anything or.
That's
So
what I mean, like just a check-in or, you know, like even mental health supports.
yeah,
Or
there should be,
like if nobody's, you know, like,
yeah, there should be very clear lines where the people can go ask for help and where we can
I
ask
don't
questions
think
of them too. And if it comes down to things like filling out a form, I know MACA has that $750 payment to evacuees after 7 days. Something like that would be maybe something we could help with, go around and help people to fill out forms, get them applications in, anything to help. Because if left on their own, they don't have computers necessarily, they don't even know where to go. Somebody said to me, where's MACA? Well, they've been told to go to social services, then they've been told to go to MACA for, I think this person was looking for some gas money. I thought, wow, this can't be right. I mean, we
yeah, I
gotta,
think the.
we gotta have one place.
NWP's emergency plans.
Yeah. One place where everybody knows that if you have a request, either you go through a person like Mavis, or you come direct and you ask yourself, but you gotta know where to go for help. That's the biggest thing, right? And while we may not be able to do everything, at least we'll have heard it, and we will try to do what we can. So, okay. And as I said, do you have any additional information?
That's all for today.
Thank you very much. And no further questions for the SAO on that matter? All right, number 9, table items, no business, we have none. Number 10, committee minutes and recommendations, we have none. New business, okay, I think this goes a little bit to what Councilor Browning was saying. No, it isn't, actually. 10, signing authority, moved by, a motion moved by Councilor Wright, seconded by Councilor McPherson, that council authorize Deputy Mayor James Tetzel and Finance Manager Benjamin Coffey to hold signing authority for the Village of Fort Simpson on behalf of the municipal council. Okay. Well, that's good, because you usually need a couple of people from the council side to be able to sign it. Yeah.
Financials, do we get to see any?
Not done yet, are they?
For, you mean monthly?
Like monthly financials, variables, variance reports?
Oh, I don't have anything right now, but for next meeting.
Okay, I have another question in regards to that. I'm just wondering, okay, so if we have we haven't had a finance manager here, like a real, a live person here, have we?
Well,
Or like back and forth, is it still back and forth?
No, that's here full time.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
okay, so I'm wondering about our financials. I feel like for council that from personally, that I'm in the dark sometimes about the financials. And I just think it should be a little bit more on a regular basis that we get to see them.
I may, Your Worship.
Yeah, go ahead.
So on the variance reports, and I understand it's supposed to be coming monthly, and my apologies. There was a chunk of time where we didn't have a finance manager, and there was quite a bit of work that backed up. And there's been still things to clean up for last year's audit, just small things, and there's been a lot of back and forth with our auditors and NACA, and so that's taken quite a bit of time. We have a new accounting system now to print out your variable report for the year, for the current month or the year. It's very easy to do, but it doesn't have last year's data in there. So that, like, for me, I could put out a variable report in no time at all, but it won't populate with last year's information because that was the old accounting system. So the problem we have is with doing variable reports every month is that we have to go back into the old system and do it from last year for the same period. But there's been quite a few changes with the accounts since we changed over. So there's a lot of work involved in making that data fit the current variable report. So if council are okay with not comparing it to last year's data, it can be done in no time at all. If council want that comparison with last year, it's quite time consuming, and that's why it hasn't been done yet.
I mean, the most important thing is that we keep an eye on our budget for
Yes,
this year.
yes.
And what are the variances coming up, if any, because we did approve the budget, so.
Yeah, because it'd be good to have the variance reports and like payables and those kinds of things just to see. I mean, yeah, we don't know, I don't know.
Councilor Wright?
Couldn't we print it off like two separate, like this year's with this system and then last year's system, right? Like we don't have to have it on the same paper.
No, but it's just, there's been changes, so there's been some accounts that were consolidated into one account, or maybe it's just laid out differently, so it's not all apples to apples. So it has to be some manual edits done to it.
Okay, so
And
those
so,
are my.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
That for each quarter, we'll do a variance report with flat comparisons to last year. And each month, we'll have a variance report with just the actuals compared to budget for this year. Would that be okay with council?
Yeah, that would be okay. As long as we see them.
But, yeah, back to the resolution.
Get sidetracked.
Yeah, do we authorize both the deputy mayor and the finance manager to have signing authority for those reports? All of those in favor? 5 in favor, none against. Okay, motion carried. Then we have a couple of other things under new business. Splash park improvements, and I take it, SAO Carvin, you have something on that?
And a nice image, and I can't seem, I was gonna pull up on the TV, I can't seem to find it, but one of the big improvements that we wanted to sort of wrap up the splash park was that rubber, brightly colored rubber flooring throughout the whole splash park and playground. We have roughly $100,000 left in the budget that has to be spent this year. And we had estimated that would cover the new rubber flooring. But what we found recently is that we vastly underestimated. And so we can find other things with that money. But to get that rubber flooring, what I would suggest is at this stage, it's not looking like we're going to be able to get the basketball court for a lot of those installed this year. So what I'd like to do is push that back to next year. Use some of that funding from the basketball court, allocate it towards the splash park, and get that rubber flooring down for the playground and splash park. I feel like it would finish it off very nicely. And if council are okay with that, I would just ask for a motion to increase the funding for the splash park from this year by by $100,000.
So 200.
So that'd be like a change in the capital plan,
Yeah, and it's
just reallocating.
yeah, like we'll make that adjustment and we'll probably have an updated capital plan later this year, but for now, a resolution approving the increase in the budget with these additions.
What's rubber flooring? Is it like just rubber mats?
It's like, like it's the new splash park in Yellowknife has that same floor. That, I don't know.
Yellowknife has a splash park?
Not splash park, playground. New
Oh, that
playground.
new, well,
Yeah, you know,
the jumpstart one, the,
so it'll be that same kind of rubber flooring, easy to clean, easy to maintain, very safe. The wood chips we have in there right now,
yeah, that was a good idea.
are not something that we want to keep long term. And then the concrete pad in the splash park, it's fine to leave it concrete, but obviously safer to have rubber and a lot.
On the splash
on the
pad.
splash pad itself, and a lot nicer. And so I'd like to see that, I'd like to see it finished off nicely.
I know in Yellowknife, they've got that rubber matting all around the playground there down by City Hall. And it's comfortable to walk on. It's, if there was any debris or anything left on it, it'd be like quite visible, right? What I worry about with that splash park is you've got potential for little kids running around, and if there's any broken glass on them,
Always broken glass.
then that will be a danger, right? And at least with this rubber matting, it'd probably be much easier to keep clean. You'd see right away if there was something left on top.
So you would rubber mat the splash pad
And the playground,
and the playground, and then leave some of the, like the green,
leaving grass, yeah.
leave the grass.
But where kids are, I guess, rubber matting, where the kids running around bare feet.
Not last, that stuff lasts a long time.
All right, well, does anyone want to move or second this motion, which I would write down, to approve a $100,000 increase in spending to cover the cost of rubber flooring around the village's splash park and pad? Yep, okay, Councilor Belmonte moves that motion. Is there a seconder? Okay, I'll go with Councilor Person. Any further discussion? Yes. Councilor
Should we say in that motion that we're taking it from the basketball court?
Yeah. Okay, the funds.
And is there an issue with getting the funds for the basketball court next year?
We'll work it out when we redo our capital plan. It's, this year, there's no, this year has to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
Next year's not as tight, so.
Yay.
Safer for your kids, your daddies.
Oh, it's nice, it's always nicer.
It's pretty
I love that
popular
place,
community.
spend lots of time there.
Okay, so just to make it more clear, then I added, the funds will come from the capital dollars allocated to the proposed basketball park in Wildrose. Okay, is everybody okay with that then? All those in favor? 5 in favor, 9 against. Motion's carried. And now we're on to chip sealing and Esteo Corrigan.
So I just wanted to look back on the screen, wanted to share with you all the plans for chip sealing this year. And it's like the origins of these plans come from a few years ago. So I've got 6 pages of maps here. This is the stretch from along Mackenzie Drive up past the floatplane dock there. It's one.
That takes us
Which
past
whole thing?
South Nahan Airways.
Yeah,
Okay, way down that way? Like South Nahanni Airways or?
towards the boat launch, but not, it just goes just as far as, South Nahan Airways. So in pink, highlight and paint the areas we plan to chip seal. Now, there's a number of patches here.
In small sections, yeah.
Yeah, so quite a lot of patching and small to medium-sized sections. And obviously, this area, that's,
Right on the side of this building,
that
yeah.
was dug up for water sewer, for the new duplex. And then there's the area here behind goes around behind the post office. So some of the small, larger sections in town. And the
People
Drum
grounds?
circle.
Oh, nice.
So that'll be, I feel like, although it doesn't serve residents directly, there's no homes along there. I feel like for people taking walks, using the ball diamonds, accessing the campground and the TP, it's going to cut down the dust. It's going to be a lot
Pretty
nicer.
busy people walking down there.
It's going to be a lot nicer for the community. So we've got a few sections here that will take quite a lot of gravel and compacting. I'd like to push these back just because for number one, cutting down on the cost, but also I feel more comfortable doing the gravel and compacting ourselves and letting it sit before chip sealing.
Where are those places?
So this is up in the hill, this is,
Oh, okay.
No,
No,
I forget the name of all of these, Tamarack and Noah, and, Noah.
Hmm.
Gilcrescent, is that?
no,
Yeah, so it's just a cul-de-sac in here. What I like to do is, spend some time and effort with our guys in gravel and making sure we have a good compact gravel base first, just waiting a little longer before chip sealing. And then we've got this stretch that I believe got done, but needs another lift or two. Now, the total for all of that comes in, I can't talk too much in contractual terms right now, but that'll come in a lot more than what we had budgeted. And so my hope is that if we pull out some of the smaller patching jobs and plan to do ourselves over the next year, take out the cul-de-sacs up on the hill, and again, do those ourselves with gravel first, with the goal of chip sealing down the line. And the other big one I'd like to pull out to try and get closer to budget. And I'll see what council feel about this. But the long section along Mackenzie Drive. It's quite a long section. It puts us quite a bit over the budget. If it's a priority for council, then we can pull what's left of the basketball court money into the chip sealing project. Otherwise, I would suggest that we hold off and maybe look in the future to chip seal all the way down to the boat launch.
that would be great.
Yeah,
That would be
Maybe
wonderful.
that would be
Chip seal
wonderful.
right to the boat launch.
project, like, I don't want to jeopardize the rest of the chip sealing by not having enough money to do those things that we do really want. It'd be nice to do this section, but if something has to go, that's probably something that, because it's a low-lying area, one thing, if it floods again, that's susceptible to being damaged, and there's not a lot of walking on that road, that section anyway, from the bulk plant down. Maybe mainly just for,
There is a lot of traffic and it is sure dusty all the time,
it is,
so dusty.
maybe we'll just have to like try to keep the calcium on that section or something for them and pack it in the interim. Yes. I think they're kind of expecting it, but if you can squeeze it in, good if you can. I guess something's gotta go.
I think so. You know, as I said, I would like to see, in maybe a year or two, the entire stretch down to the boat launch get done. Especially as we're working on improving the actual boat launch itself and the lighting. I think we'll finish up that nicely. But something again that, you know, when we originally applied through the ISIP program for the chip seal funding, which is now all used up, that stretch wasn't on the initial scope of work. And that's the reason that we couldn't get the rest of this work funded, was because it was already on the original scope of work and they weren't going to fund it again. But that stretch to the boat launch wasn't on that original scope of work, so that's something that we could apply for funding as a project in itself for down the line. So that would be my recommendation.
That's the plan, maybe. How does councilors feel? If we have to let go of something, would that be it?
And if we have to wait for 1 year, it's, I don't really have a problem with that. I'm using the boat launch very often, so.
Right.
I feel like the majority of that traffic that go along that stretch, the majority of them go all the way to the boat launch anyway. So it's not like
Right.
we're not doing that whole stretch anyway, so we're only taking away that one piece of road that's impacting a small.
I think we should try to make sure that we keep the dust down on that section though, because it does get kind of busy between the bulk and South Handy Airways, because you're getting a lot of people loading, unloading, but other than that, I mean, yeah, putting it on for a year or two till we get more funding. You just have to sort of say, well, that's gone to a priority in the future, but then we'll be doing patching in the future, I'm sure. So I guess you're asking for the go-ahead?
We don't need a council resolution, it could be an administrative decision, but I'd like to report in the minutes that council has support if it's needed to stay within budget.
Okay, so is everybody okay with what he said?
I'm okay with that, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, that one's, and that's all you wanted to say on that one?
That's it, your worship, and that work should be started next month.
That's one good thing about dry weather. Chip sealing is good weather for what we're expecting. Item 12, bylaw officer appointments. And actually, this one I don't have, but I can write one up.
We need to one for a first time and for a second time.
Right.
Do you want me to?
Yeah, maybe I'll get you just, probably know the ins and outs of what you want to say.
Is there like a probationary period for this position?
There is, yeah.
Why do you have a bylaw to appoint to? A bylaw.
There's quite a lot of power in that position in the legislation. And so being a big decision, it requires a bylaw. It's required under the City Subdivision Act.
Oh, that we have a bylaw to hire a bylaw officer?
To appoint him,
Oh, to appoint him, hire, appoint him.
and because essentially what council is doing is giving him
Power.
power.
Who does the bylaw officer take direction from?
That would be, yes.
Just
Well,
you, the SAO position?
there's quite a lot of, quite a lot of his tasks will be related to zoning, to zoning bylaw, development permits, and dog control. And so the operations manager has been doing the majority of that work.
Mitch,
Yeah, and so he's working most closely with Mitch, but ultimately reports to the SAO.
so who could tell him what to do? He reports to you, so just you? I'm not sure I understand the question exactly. I'm just wondering, because I think I've heard, there's something out there where a person like parking, right? Parking. And somebody telling the bylaw officer to tell somebody they're not allowed to park there. So unless you're within those little yellow lines or whatever, I think the only person that can give direction to the bylaw officer is the SAO, right?
Okay, yeah. We're like regarding like legal items, okay, yeah, that would be the case, yeah. And then because if you read in the bylaw, it actually states that the SAO is chief bylaw officer.
I want to
The
see
words
those
to that,
bylaws.
words to that effect. Can't read and write at the same time, apparently. Um, So the resolution would read that that bylaw, number 2023-003, bylaw officer appointment, be read the first time.
So, can I get a mover for that? Okay, Deputy Mayor Tetson. And how about seconder? Okay, Councilor Gray. Again, that bylaw 2023-003, bylaw officer appointment, be ready the first time. Any discussion? All those in favor? 5 in favor, 9 against. Motion's carried, and then for the second reading, can I get a mover? Okay, by Councilor Browning. And how about a seconder? Okay, Councilor Belmonte. The bylaw 2023-003, bylaw officer appointment, be ready second time. All those, well, any discussion? And all those in favor? 5 in favor, 9 against. Motion's carried. And then we have correspondence and information. We have a sort of a letter from, I guess it's Transportation Department concerning some rezoning out at the airports, the main airport. Well, sorry,
Yeah, you're
first we have the Fort Simpson Historical Society invitation, which is just information, and they have a meeting on June 10th, which if councilors would like to attend, it's part of their strategic planning, so they're looking for a little bit of feedback and input from community members, and so they sent us an invitation. It's a long meeting, I think, so it'll be a meal and a few comments. So, okay, we'll take that, and hopefully we'll be able to make it over there. I'll try. So, 13B, the airport development. This is the one where it's a request for some feedback, I think, because it's not, this isn't an actual application to subdivide, it's sort of a preliminary, is it? Okay, Morgan, can you address that one?
Yeah, so they've applied to subdivide these lots and make them available for commercial purpose, I think it's commercial. This does not approve any specific developments. Any specific developments would still require a development permit application, and that would come before council if necessary. This is in line with discussions that we've had with our community planners about making more land become available. And so administration are supportive of it. If council would like to leave it at that, I'll indicate that there are no concerns. If council would like to pass a motion to support it, then I will indicate to them that council are supportive.
First of all, does anybody have any concerns or everybody's supporting it?
Do you know what they're gonna use the lot for commercial, you said? Well, it's zone commercial right now, right?
Yes, I think it's commercial. Yeah, it would have to be, there was certain usage that would be compatible with being
Like close to the
close
airport
to the
too.
airport. So,
Yeah, Councillor,
We don't have anything, like any drawings or anything.
Yeah, there's,
Is that the airport?
yeah, I was trying to look at it, figure.
Okay, I thought this was that in-town thing.
Do you want me to, I should have left this on, I can explain it if you like.
Okay, no, I just didn't read the small. So I believe what they're doing is subdividing so that so they can get leases out there for the people
Plane
that,
operators?
yeah, plane operators in town. Because I know one or two of them already have leases out there.
Yeah.
So we should be looking at what we're gonna do with the airport after they move.
But yeah, and this could be like warehousing and stuff out there too, right? I mean, like in Yellowknife, everybody that's out at the airport usually has some interactions with the air traffic and stuff out there.
Just so
It could be expediters or future activity too.
Just so everyone's clear, this is the road. You turn off the highway and you come down this road into the airport. Here's the hangar buildings right here. And here's the car park. Right in front of the airport. And so they will be developing these lots.
Yeah, it's kind
And then also further past the parking lot, there's lots of available here. Maybe available here with the airstrip down there.
yeah. It was nice to have land available for certain activities. Really have any objections to that. Does anybody else have any concerns? Okay. Now, they put in an application. For subdividing, it actually goes for input from us, but it goes to the territorial government. They subdivide. We rezone, they subdivide, right?
Yeah.
So if we had an objection, we put it in now,
Exactly.
because we're not actually the ones that do it. Would you say we don't have any objections? Good enough? But otherwise, how do you know that we actually discussed it?
We're given a certain length of time, and that's our opportunity to object.
And if there was nothing, so we don't necessarily have to say we're approving it, we're just saying we have no objections, right? Okay. Maybe that's the way to do
Your
it.
consultation.
Yeah, we were consulted. All right. Then going on to the next issue, which is our regular council matters and concerns. Who wants to start? Does anybody have any? Okay, Councilor Browning.
not so much, for one, a kudos to Jenny and the village staff that did the graveyard cleanup this weekend. It was really nice to see, it was really nice to be a part of, like even for the sense of community, people sitting around afterwards and just talking and just talking about who's where and families and those kinds of things, so it was really nice, and I think she's gonna organize, she mentioned another couple more, because there was lots of work, but it was just kind of, lots more needs to be done. So I just wanted to say kudos to them for that. And I also want to know what happens with counselor concerns, or do we get feedback from counselors' concerns? Because I'm gonna bring it up again, I'm concerned about the amount of vehicles on that one lot in the community and possibly another lot. I think it's unsightly. I think our community is unsightly. So what's the next step is basically what I'm asking. I just don't want to bring it up again. I want to know what's the next step. And how do we get to the next step?
The next step is that at the next meeting, you'll notice that there has been an improvement.
Okay, thank you. And just to reiterate Stephanie's concerns that she sent in an email, is there a possibility of that we can assist with some of that? Not so much for just everybody, but for people that aren't able to, that people don't have, that aren't able to, because I know the big debris pickup is done May 31st, but if people still wanted to kind of smart proof around their place and stuff, like
For fire smarting?
fire smarting, like would we be able to assist with that a little ways and and I know summertime is hot for projects and stuff, but if there's a way that we can just assist with a little bit of, smart proofing around.
We should almost do it as a separate thing, yeah, because if we can do that in the next couple of weeks and advertise it, some people will cut down some trees, haul the brush.
That kind of stuff, yeah, because not everybody has the means to do that, right?
Yeah, and we definitely don't want anybody burning anything.
Yeah,
Maybe we could work with Public Works and see.
Yeah, just a
And
thought,
say,
maybe not every week, but every so often we can do a post on the Thursday, Friday, saying we're encouraging everyone to clean up this weekend, Monday, any brush piles that
Yeah.
will be taken away.
yes, that would be awesome. I think
Maybe
they're
not, maybe not too regularly, but 1 week time.
Yeah,
Sort of semi-regularly.
or that they can call the village to see if they can get some help with that or something.
Okay, is that your kinds of concerns?
One more.
Okay.
Just around the same thing, that coming down, and somebody mentioned this to me too before, would be kind of nice, when you're coming down the causeway and you're going into the campground, and that old road that was there before, where they displaced all those people that were living there for years, that road there, in that bush there, I believe that we own that property, right? Before the park. All that bush there, like say when you're coming down to the Papal grounds.
I'm not sure.
I'm just wondering if that little area there, if we can somehow, might not be able to do it this year, but little walking trails in there in a day use area, because it's big enough that we can do a walking trail in there, like say, get into the park or something.
There is a walking trail that comes out on that road.
Just to expand it,
There's
maybe,
not that good a signage
yeah.
there, but there is a trail that goes around the outside edge.
You know where I mean? You know where I mean, right? I don't know if I know there's old trails
Yeah,
before.
we're probably old trails.
Yeah.
Gladys and these.
Sit out
Remember the old trails?
sit out the underbrush in there.
Yeah, like cut out some underbrush and just
Look nice.
make it nice and cut all that grass on that big field there, because if that starts on fire, I'm telling you, that'll go quick. Because it just seems like nobody takes responsibility for that little piece of grass every year. This stuff to make our community more beautiful.
And just maybe after the meeting, can we look at a map and make sure I understand
Yeah.
exactly what you mean?
All right, and thank you, Councilor Browning. Anybody else have any council issues or concerns? Okay,
Just
Councilor first.
regarding the cemetery, there's a lot of old crosses that are not, like they still have the names and dates and stuff.
Right.
That, is there any plan to replace them, or is that up to the families to do themselves? Like, I just,
SA recording,
As it is now, it would be up to the families unless there's something specific council wanted to do. Right, it's a delicate
yeah.
subject, you know. But there's no plans for
Yeah,
us to
a few
replace
people
them.
that I talked to down there were asking about that, so.
you know, maybe that's something that, if they can't do it themselves, maybe we can help to organize replacing some of those crosses. I mean, that's pretty basic, right?
Yeah, it's just like, because right now, some of them just have a little plaque, and that's all you need. It's just,
Take that off and put it on another.
yeah.
Treat it
So maybe
piece of wood.
the next go around, you can make that kind of plan, like just future plan, right? It's just,
Yeah.
this is just a good start in, making walking trails in there, because like, I don't know
I
when I'm
can't
walking,
stand
if I'm walking all over somebody or not, it's
I know, it's like, oh, I can't stand this, I don't know about walking over
Yeah,
somebody,
I
and
know.
divorce, it's like, I don't think they would matter.
Yeah, I don't think I would be too upset with you. Sure, it was just your own personal. Yeah, so.
But maybe
I
that
think-
committee can approach or find out
Yeah.
how many names there are of people that need a cross, and maybe the village can then
Yeah,
see if we can.
just
do
have
something.
volunteers go bring hammers and nails and stuff
Yeah.
down there, and we can do it. So,
Yeah.
I think those were in the plans as well, kind of to try to figure that stuff out.
Yeah.
I know, the first couple steps are just cleaning it, because there's so much needed to be done there.
Okay, that's all.
Okay, anything else? Councilor Fontaine, okay.
I was just gonna say, down at the splash pad, I noticed it got really, really dirty for a while. Families, when it first opened, were going there and there was garbage everywhere, so I guess the village went in and cleaned it up, which I thought was really good. They're very good at being on top of it. I was thinking if it gets worse, if it continues to get like that, then maybe we would have to, if there's smashed glass and stuff, we may have to find a way to lock it and say it's closed until, we can't have the staff going there every day to clean it up. But then maybe that would deter
Close it at
people.
night or something, 10 o'clock, whatever.
Well, I mean, going into the summer too, there's gonna be kids that will wanna go because it's sunny and light there, but I just think if there's smashed glass, if there's a lot of garbage there, it can be dangerous for kids to go in. So maybe when it gets like that, if we can't send the staff right away, we could close it and then put an announcement, sorry, it's closed for a couple of days until we have a chance to clean it up. It will suck for some people that want to use it, but I think we want to be as safe as we can. With the fire smart brush cleanup, I was thinking, wasn't it ENR that put out those little pamphlets before, they had little books and stuff? Maybe we could get those and have them available, so people have tips on ways to, I know it said certain things, like if there's bushes within so many feet or meters of your house, these are things you should minimize, try to use metal roofing and stuff, but they had tips that maybe would help people out. And the last one is the public meeting at the dog meeting. But, well, it's gonna be a public meeting, but most of the concerns were on dogs.
What public dog meeting?
After, we discussed it a few times, after the person got bit and community members asked to have a public meeting.
Oh, I didn't know we had a public meeting for
We
dogs.
talked, we were gonna have a public meeting and the majority of it was about dogs, but then it was,
Did you guys have a meeting?
it was discussed that we were gonna have it in the mid of June.
On that, then, SA recording, maybe you gotta,
We had discussed setting a meeting to discuss the dog bylaw and issues with dogs. For mid-June was what we discussed in that meeting. I'd like to suggest we just push it back a couple of weeks because of what's happening with the evacuees. Council agree with that.
Actually, because.
Yeah.
Can I make a suggestion? Instead of a public meeting just about dogs, can we just hold a public meeting about concerns? I know I've heard from a few people that said that council used to, in the past, hold the public meetings at least a couple years just to hear about community concerns. And some of it might be like, I don't know, concerns that there's nothing really we can do about, but maybe there's something that we can do about it. I just know that I had a couple people approach about, the village used to do public meetings in regards to concerns, they don't do that anymore. I don't know. Instead of it just to be about one issue.
I think too, we should, the way we do council concerns at the end of the meeting, I've mentioned it before, that it would be nice to advertise to the community that maybe at the beginning of our meetings, we can have community concerns and keep it kind of limited so people don't talk a lot, but have them come in and if they have a concern, because the council is here to represent the people. And oftentimes we feel they voted for us, so we think we know what they want. But sometimes people have these things that, for example, I've never considered, they'll come to me with something and it's something I've never thought of as being an issue. But I think if they could come in and just give their quick sort of, they could, if they want to type something up, they can, but I think they could just come in and say, here's a concern that I have, put it out there. And if we're hearing a lot of concerns from the same people or the same issue, maybe it's something we would want to work on. But at least that way they feel like they're saying their own words.
Just an open public meeting. Just, you can give some updates on certain things like the chip sealing that's coming, what we're doing with the splash park, other things that have changed around the village.
It's almost proactive as well, right? It's a little bit more proactive.
Yeah, just reaching out to them. I sort of know that it's, if you tell people they can come and sit in front of us here, and it's like, we're the judges here sitting and they're down there talking, it's very intimidating perhaps to some people to do that. Whereas a public meeting, if we're supplying a bit of food and drink and then they come and it's more of a community chat, I like that idea better. And we'll listen to what people have to say, and this room have heard. It has been quite a while since we had any kind of community interactions directly. But I think it's good. As you say, it's kind of busy right now with all of and the halls being used for all kinds of different things too. So a matter of coordinating it, but if, I know a lot of people will be on holidays and whatever, but.
At least we said we can do it, we did it, right?
Yeah, we'll say
So,
we tried.
or we did it, not that we tried.
We did it. Yeah, let's try and get it done in the next month somehow, right? Sometimes people go to the meetings and they just say, you guys did a good job in this area. Sometimes they actually say those things too. Yes,
Would council like to see a proposed agenda for this meeting?
I just keep it open. Bring your concerns. Say it that way. Try and keep it so that,
Like, we can even do it like around our community plan, right?
there's that too.
Like the energy plan, the community plan can have those up there to.
We should update, directly some of these things. We don't have to go long-winded into it, have it
Yeah.
available, just say, well, we did that, here's this, here's what we're doing. Do a 15-minute update, and then just, other people may come with just totally different things, but it'll be like information here, and because not everybody's on the internet, as I always get told. And, upcoming, we'll hear what people's concerns are. Yeah. Sometime in the next month, that doesn't conflict with some other activity in the arena, I suppose.
And would part of this be our discussion around the dog bylaw, or would you want to keep that separate?
I think you could just bring that up as one of many topics that could be discussed.
Yeah, I think so.
You know.
Right.
Yeah,
Like,
completely
we should have like a
separating-
sheet on the wall, this is our bylaw,
Yeah.
comment on it, what do you think needs to be
Yeah.
changed, da, 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 like, make it like maybe like a working group meeting kind of, right? Ways to improve, ways we're doing crappy, ways we're doing good.
Be part of court.
If you don't make it wide open, you probably really won't get very many people. You'll get probably, half a dozen people, that's it. And then they'll all have their one thing, but they'll feel like slighted in a way because, well, why is this the only issue you guys are talking about? But it could be part of it. I just wouldn't set aside a particular topic, because even there you're saying, well, this is the most important thing that we have to talk about, and there's so many things that we could talk about. But we should mention that it's one of many.
Yeah, I think the reason I was saying that is because I was specifically asked to have a meeting on that. So
Yeah, well,
that's why it brought it up at the time. But at the meeting, we had discussed scoping it to everything.
so you could list that we'll have information on all these different items, and anybody who wants to speak about them or anything can come to the meeting. And if we supply some donuts and coffee or something, at least we might get a few people. Yeah. Okay, now, Councilor Wright, do you have something?
Sure. Okay. The graveyard cleanup went great, right? We're gonna put in a new fence. I'm wondering why we didn't remove the fence on the airport side, right? There's 30 yards of land that was designated for the graveyard that we're not utilizing. And extending it to the front, there's a problem with that. That's where the old arena was, and all they did there was bury the foundation, right? Because we've done some digging over there, and we did cement and garbage and that sort of thing.
Yeah,
So-
that's a good point.
Moving that fence to the back would probably be the best for what we're using it for.
Well,
Yeah.
I was waiting for
we're not dying that fast, are we?
Well,
How much room do we need, I guess, is the question.
in the back, they have from here to that corner, right? That's already built up and sort of designated for the graveyard.
Right. And it's not like it would go jutting out any further than
No, there's,
the apron and everything is.
no, it's this side of that road, right, that goes to the left, to go around the air strip.
Right,
So it's on,
on that side of it.
yeah, we're
Maybe that's a,
10, 15 yards short of that.
and is that, like, where did you see the plan to do that extension?
Well, I see that they removed all the fence around the graveyard except for that back one. So
Right,
somebody made the decision that we weren't going back, we were going forward.
right.
I don't think we were going forward, were we? I
That
thought
was
we
the
were, they were
plan.
just removing the fence, that old fence to put the new fence.
Yeah, but I think,
I thought you're
I
going,
wasn't involved in that conversation.
okay, I thought it was
But I
towards
do-
Cincinnati that way.
I do-
Yeah, but they were planning on taking up some of the parking lot.
Okay,
I think that was the case.
okay.
So I think going back would be yet the best possible.
Yeah, because I don't think you're gonna come to the front too much further before you start to hit, like you say, the debris.
We've already hit debris,
Community
right,
hall,
within the fenced area now.
Yeah.
We've done some digging and hit the foundation.
That area is good for a parking lot.
Yeah, it is
Yeah,
great
you
for
do need
parking lots.
space Anyway,
I think also we were looking for a spot to put a fire pit too, right? So that was.
That would be
above
okay.
ground, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different things to be factored in.
Because, yeah, that was a big arena, right? And
Yeah.
there probably is a lot of sort of half buried stuff in there. And nobody wants to be buried on top of it. Old junk. Okay.
Oh, yeah, won't say sometimes.
All right, yeah, Counselor Rice.
Okay. During the May 1st meeting with Mitch, I asked when we were gonna start the 104th Street extension, right? The one that connects to Main Road from 104th Street.
Where is that exactly?
I'm not gonna go, hey, it's like the Bronx,
Okay,
right?
yeah.
So last
Oh,
year.
you're talking about by, on the other side of Kevin's house.
Yeah, so last year we allocated money, or maybe even this year, when they were gonna build them houses there, right? We allocated money for that, and we haven't started yet.
Those are those two tiny
Well, I
homes.
mean, I don't know exactly why, but, see, I'm not sure if what you're saying is all exactly true. Like, we weren't gonna build the houses, but, housing, no, MACA was gonna put 2 housing units in there. And so they bought a couple of properties, and although they didn't subdivide them, I don't think, they planned on building 2, and we told them that the cost to put in the sewer was going to run somewhere in the hundreds of thousands, right? And they said, no, we're not building there, they changed the locations. At that point, it seemed like, well, why would the village build a road? Because there's no building gonna go on in there now. Yeah,
Because it's supposed to be a road. It's always been supposed to be a road.
is it on the maps as a road?
Yes, it was on the map as a road for the last 30 years.
It's not just an easement, is it?
It was supposed to be a road way back when. And we put money aside last year to make it a road.
Well, that part I don't know either, I'm not sure.
Let's follow up on it.
Okay, we could get some answers maybe on that.
Yeah.
Some very specific questions you're asking there,
No, just why you haven't started the road.
yeah. Okay, do you have any answers at this time, or you want to think about that one?
I'll just make a couple of comments, Your Worship, if I may. Let's see. Atlas is kind of slow. So I believe this is what we're discussing.
Right there.
I can't draw on this.
Just use your fingers. Yeah.
Okay, so I believe, yeah, that's what we're discussing, right? That is in our plan as being a road. It's quite narrow, so I don't see it, I don't think it's big enough probably for more than one way at best. But I should also point out that this is also in our plan as a road. Or that's in reality,
Where?
that's the airstrip, but it's actually in our plan as a road. And there's also this here is in our plan as a road.
Where?
And so this is the end of the airstrip.
Okay.
Okay, so there's quite a few things in there, and this is one of the reasons our community plan is being redone this year, and so we're in the process of redoing it right now. And part of that update will be a new map, which more accurately, shows what is or isn't the road. But back to this. Here. So it was a development permit application to put 2 homes in one of these lots beside this road. And then we had done some inquiries as to the cost of putting water sewer services in there. And we had informed government that that would be their responsibility. I don't believe they actually ever got back to us and said, yes, they're okay with that, no, they're not. But ultimately, that development was denied. And so with those discussions about the road and the water sewer services, they seem to have died with that development permit. So, but if another development permit came along for that lot, I'm sure that discussion will come around again. But I don't remember us ever, we had never allocated any money to build a road here.
I'm sure we did like 100,000.
We can find out.
That's easy enough to find out, but I don't think we did.
I just know we were looking at putting those 2 units there. And then I know that the costs are gonna be exorbitant, so.
Yeah.
But I didn't know about the proposed road.
What would be the purpose of a road there?
It would be to access houses that were, and even with those development permit application for the houses back there, I do remember there being discussion about different options, such as having access only from 100th Street or only from the other side. There was never a plan to actually put a through road in. There was discussions around different options for accessing those properties.
Yeah. I mean, unless that was another one-way in with I would hate to see that become like a throughway from one side all the way through, because you'd be literally driving almost beside people's houses and little kids and stuff come out.
You're already driving right beside little, or houses and little kids.
But in
Drive
there,
in.
you only can go in, right? You can't drive just for a cruise through to the other side. And if once you make it a road continuous through, people might start to do that more. And I don't know, it just seems like a tight fit, even between the existing duplexes that they have in there. You know, you drive in there, there's people parked all over, and now if we have a road that goes right through, some people are gonna just, oh, let's go drive through here. And just seems like it'd be a little bit of a nightmare situation.
So that's village property, right?
Must be.
The yellow is, yeah.
Okay, if we look at it right now, you can't tell that's village property.
No,
Color yellow.
No, like get somebody to move their fence or something, right?
It doesn't affect me either way. It's on my side of the property line,
Yeah.
so.
Believe me, there's lots of,
Okay, are we on,
improvements.
okay, so we're talking, so where your house is, so is it on this side of the road or on that side?
The fence,
No, the road, where's the road supposed to be?
the road
I thought it was like-
would be on the other side of my fence.
Oh, like that alleyway?
Yeah,
The other
but
side.
On the
So
other
between
side of that, not
So
between
Ted's-
Ted's and his
Okay,
place,
okay.
right? So that there's supposed to be a road, and it's always been supposed to be a road.
Yeah, just like there's supposed to be a road at the airstrip.
Well, the airstrip can become a road, but it's pretty easy.
Okay, let's, what
Yeah.
are we doing here?
I'll just point out one more thing that's.
I don't think we allocated any money. for this.
No, I honestly don't think we
I
did.
don't think we did.
Although there might have been discussions about
Yeah.
access and stuff, I don't think we actually allocated money.
And just another thing to note, seeing as we're on the topic of our plan and roads, there's actually no road here where Mackenzie Drive is.
There is
It actually doesn't, doesn't exist.
Where?
Along the river. One we're
Oh, the
talking-
river
The
road.
one we're talking about chip sealing today, it's not actually a road.
According to our plan.
You gonna go along to us, or?
It's not a road.
Right. A lot of imperfections, though.
Yeah.
It we have a community plan that's dated 2008. And it's 2023 now, so I think there's a lot to tidy.
And I just wanted to give Deputy Mayor Tetzel a chance there.
Oh,
You
yeah,
had your hand up earlier.
no, I wasn't, I was just waiting for a discussion.
And, yeah, but did you have something earlier that you were thinking about?
I want to commend our village staff and our community residents in their support of our Summer K evacuees here. You know, they're going through a devastating time in their lives right now. And our community are stepping up and supporting them in any way that we can. And that's very important for me. I also want to urge that I have serious concerns about the threat of wildfire in this municipal region. The last 3 years, this entire territory has been impacted by fire-based environmental disasters. And, probably not going to stop anytime soon. I urge that all tri-councils in this community take action to be proactive about this looming threat. I'm on the land all the time. I've been seeing the changes year to year to year, and it's starting to become serious here. I really don't want to be on the wrong side of history here when it comes to protecting our own people. With that being said, I'm pretty concerned.
Okay, and when's the next emergency EMO meeting? Are we having a tabletop exercise?
I'll update council by email.
Okay, I know there's one upcoming here, Mac told us they're gonna go through one for a fire, which kind of helps address some of those concerns about, well, if the fire is coming in this scenario, what do you do? Just run through some things, at least it's some practice in case we have to go to that. All right. In camera, well, I don't see any in camera items.
I thought I'd ask for something to be for that legal issue we discussed the last time to be in camera.
You had asked, and I apologize for not responding. I meant to point out that after the agenda goes out on Friday, it can't be amended until the beginning of the meeting, in which case items need to get.
Okay, so I'm noting now for the next meeting.
Yeah.
That I want to go in camera for that.
Yeah.
Is that, well, it doesn't fit anywhere on the agenda?
Well, is it mission critical or can we address it?
Wait till,
We do have some, on the point, I don't know if it's exactly the same topic, or it might be, but I do have some information, correspondence to distribute to council. I can share it with you tonight after meetings done. There won't be any discussion obviously after the meeting. I can share it with you, but I don't have the information to discuss it tonight, so.
Right. As you and I had that little discussion about when items might go in camera and when they will be, like a letter that a resident writes to mayor and council will always go direct to mayor and council. It's almost like we're just a mailbox for the councilors. So when you get stuff addressed mayor and council, just keep in mind that some of it might be sensitive information that you might not want to go around talking about, but it's not an in-camera item, right? It's just, that's because, you might say, well, gee, shouldn't have that been just brought up in camera, but it's the residents or the writer's choice to who they address a letter to, I guess, not ours. Other than that. think that's what we ended up with, a couple letters addressed to mayor and council there.
In regards to, like, do we see that? You just said we see it.
You're gonna see it.
Yeah. I will, I'll share it with you guys.
Okay.
Okay, and so you'll just make sure they get that at the end of the meeting or something? Okay. All right. Let's move to our last item, which is, yeah, I know Kevin was thinking about it because we had the in camera, out of camera and all that, but we'll deal with it next time.
I was all ready for it to be added.
Yeah. So let's address this. We've got a motion moved by Councilor McPherson, seconded by Councilor Wright, that council adjourn regular meeting RM11-2023 at 8:40 PM. All those in favor? 5 in favor, none against. Thanks, everybody.